Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today's episode number 7 of Coffee with Raph. My name is Raph, and this is my coffee. And every morning we talk about ways to reduce the gap that separates who we are today and who we are capable of being at our highest potential. And in order to start working on reducing this gap, we first need to accept where we are at this moment right now today. Okay, and only then can we act, move forward in the pursuit of our highest self, and drive ourselves to our true capabilities. This is extremely important, and in today's podcast we will talk about why we need to stop fighting our current reality if we want to change our future reality. But first, let's jump to the summary for this podcast today. In part 1, as always, we will do some learning and some acting, and we will read a mini passage from Epictetus' Enchiridion. We'll also do some reading on Eckhart Tolle's famous book, The Power of Now, and a little extract from Byton Katie's book, Loving What Is. And of course, like most times, a quote by our favorite Stoic teacher, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. It sounds like a lot, I know, but they're tiny passages and quotes that will help us to grasp this concept for today's morning show. Very important content. Make sure you stay until the end, especially for the exercises, right? In part 2, as usual, we will do some journaling. So get your journal with you, either paper or digital, that doesn't matter. And we'll journal on ways on how to apply everything that we've been learning in today's episode. In part 3, we will do some visualization exercises. As always, every day I guide you through a visualization exercise so that you can practice first making the blueprint inside of your mind, and then throughout the day you'll be able to practice in the material world, quote unquote, right? Next step, as always, I will guide you through some empowering affirmations that you will be repeating after me out loud. Last but not least, part 5, our guided meditation, where we take a little bit of time to create this calm energy, this space, so that throughout the day we can be more creative, less reactive, more proactive. So I hope you're excited. I sure am. Today we have a lot to cover, so let's get started right away. Welcome to the channel, everybody. This is our little morning show where we spend a few moments every day, Monday to Friday, every morning to empower us in living an extraordinary life one day at a time. If this is interesting to you, please do consider subscribing to the channel, pushing notification bells. And all episodes come with free worksheets. Yes, free worksheets. You get them directly in your inbox. It's very simple. You just need to subscribe to the newsletter on the website. Everything you need to know is down in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube, or in the show notes if you're listening to this inside of there in the podcast. So let's start with our teacher of the week, really, which is Epictetus, from the book The Enchiridion. And he's a Stoic philosopher. He says, and I quote, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." I will repeat it one more time because it's very important, and it's said very poetically. So it took me twice to really fully grasp the meaning of this quote. So again, seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. I really do love this passage from the book The Enchiridion. I love this quote. In fact, every part of this book is a quote, really. And so ask yourself, do you want to live a tranquil flow of life? Do you want peace of mind? Then accept what is. Eckhart Tolle, in his famous book, The Power of Now, great book, it's on our reading list, check it out. He says kind of the same thing. I quote, "Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. End of quote. Terrific. Really powerful stuff here. And in other words, remember that where you are today is very likely to be a construction of where you have put yourself from your past, right? Does that resonate with you? Let me know in the comment section below how this resonates with you and how you react to this piece of information. Yesterday, we talked about our ability to respond, response ability, right? That if we all responded to challenges in the same way, we would all have the same outcomes, which of course is not the case. So if you're interested in being happy, why wouldn't you, right? Then keep that in mind. In Loving What Is, it's the title of a really cool book by Byton Katie, and she puts it this way, I quote, listen up. The only time we suffer is when we believe a thought that argues with what is. When the mind is perfectly clear, what is what we want. I realize that it is insane to oppose it. When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time. End of quote. I like this a lot. When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time. Let's finish making the point that fighting with reality is, as Byton Katie puts it, insane. With a quote from Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, in his Meditations, he says, and I quote, O world, I am in tune with every note of thy great harmony. For me nothing is early, nothing is late, if it be timely for thee, O nature. All that thy seasons yield is fruit to me. End of quote. So how about you? Are you tuned with nature, with your current reality? And if not, let's work on that and start with our exercises for the day. Take out your journal, take out your pen, and write down an experience where you were upset at something, at someone, or even an event that occurred, where you were actually acting as an insane person, creating suffering for yourself and the people around you. In other words, when you were fighting with reality. Okay? So take your time, write it down, pause the video if you must. Let's get started. Are you done? Good. Now read it. I want you to read it out loud preferably, and laugh at it. I'm not joking, laugh at it. But it's better to laugh than cry, right? Acknowledge, that you were being crazy and creating suffering in the process. Remember that you cannot fight reality. Stop fighting reality. Learn to let go, learn to move on. If something is within our control, that's great. Act on it. If not, move on. Remember what Byton Katie said, when I fight with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time. Short side note here, that doesn't mean you cannot be empathetic and compassionate, by the way, right? Just don't fight with reality. Let's move on to the next part of our morning routine, and that is a guided visualization, meditation, and empowering affirmations. Remember, as always, these three will follow each other, so make sure that you are in a place where you'll not be disturbed, or you can sit comfortably. Especially for the meditation part, you will want to be preferably alone, but if you can't, that's also fine. Okay? So for the visualization exercise for today, I would like you to imagine yourself at your reflection in the mirror. Okay, so you're watching yourself in the mirror, and you're looking at yourself, and you realize that this is you. And you can put a smile on your face and say, I accept you. It feels very awkward. I've tried this exercise right before I started recording, just so that, I like to try out things before I tell you to do stuff. It's funny how this is awkward, but do it right now in your visualization exercise, and when this whole episode is over, go in front of the mirror and actually do it in the material world, and you'll be surprised. It's very powerful. So again, you're imagining yourself in front of the mirror, you're putting a smile on your face, and you say to your reflection, I accept you. This is my reality, and I will not fight it. I want you to think about your life, where you are, at this very moment, in all areas really, where you are health-wise, financially, in your career, emotionally, in your relationships, in your friendships, where you are in your stream, in your timeline for your goal, for where you want to be in the future. And make yourself a promise that you won't fight your reality any longer. Because you know that only once you accept where you are can you move forward and towards where it is that you want to be. So, first we accept, and then we take action. And it's very, very, very important not to skip the acceptance part. It's very important to be humble of where you are right now. If you are too arrogant, you will never grow, you will never move towards who it is that you really want to be. So take your time to visualize yourself in front of that mirror and to really envision where you are right now and put some emotion into it, some feeling into it, that you accept where you are today and you're ready to move on with your life, with your goals, with your ambitions. And on that note, I would like you to repeat after me this set of empowering affirmations. Number 1, I accept who I am today. Number 2, who I am today is my starting point. Number 3, from where I am today, I can move forward. Number 4, I am grateful of where I am. I am grateful of whom I am. Last but not least, number 5, I am grateful of the opportunity to grow and to become who I must become. Before we start the meditation, keep your eyes closed, and I want to make 2 little points here. The first is from that last affirmation, because remember that who you can be, you must be. That was our first episode, and you have a responsibility towards yourself and towards the sanctity of life itself to live to your highest potential. And also to that other one, the second one, which was who I am today is my starting point. Every day is a new starting point. Forget about yesterday. If yesterday doesn't exist anymore, right? Today is the starting point. Today is 0. If yesterday was 0 and we get to 1, today switches from 1 to 0. Today is our starting point. Every day is our new starting point. And as we grow in our personal growth and in our evolution, whether it's mentally or physically or emotionally, financially, we set new standards. Every single day you set new standards for yourself. And this is how you grow. This is how you close the gap between who you are today and who you are capable of being at your true potential. By always starting from 0 every day, we start back where we are and we continue growing, and there's never an end. Well, there is an end, but that end is basically when we die, right? There is no such thing as perfection. We talked about it before. Just wanted to remind you on this. And on that point, let's start today's meditation. Make sure that you're sitting nice and comfortably. And I'm going to do it with you actually now. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhalation through the mouth. Let's do a little circle with our head. Imagine that your head is a very, very heavy stone, and let gravity and momentum do the work. Don't Don't put any effort into it. Now circle on the other side. It feels so great, and come back to neutral. Today, very simple. We've done this a few days ago. Simply count your breath and don't change anything. It fits very well in today's theme, accepting who you are today, accepting where you're at in your evolution, and accept your breathing as it is. Don't try to breathe deeper. Don't try to breathe longer. Accept where you are. If your breath is shallow, that's fine. There's no right, there's no wrong. Just observe your breathing. Notice the movements in your body when you breathe. Going up a little bit on the inhalation and down on the exhalation. Without changing anything, notice any pattern in your breath. Breathe with no expectations, no judgments. If you start thinking, that's okay. Don't judge your thoughts, don't judge yourself for thinking. Come back to your breath. Don't try to control it, observe it. It is what it is. If you notice any discomforts in your body, then do what needs to be done. That's perfectly fine. If you need to move your back a little bit or uncross your legs, release your jaw. That's perfectly okay. If you lose focus of your breath, it's perfectly okay. It is what it is. For me personally, it feels amazing. Those meditations doesn't have to be a transcendental meditation, doesn't have to be a mindfulness meditation. It's just a meditation where you accept what it is. If you breathe like this, you breathe like this. If you breathe like that, you breathe like that. If you need to move, you move. If you think about something, you think about something. catch yourself thinking, well, you can come back to your breath. Practice compassion towards yourself. You practice empathy towards yourself. You practice the ability to just stand there and observe. You can observe your breath. You can really gain so much personal power. If you can see your own body, if you can see your own mind, the opportunity for growth is unlimited. I'm often asked, how do I find this light within me? How do I find this strength that you say that everybody has within? How do I find this personal power? How do I find this calmness and this peace of mind? Just by doing nothing, by observing. I also lose patience sometimes. I'm meditating and I'm fidgety and my thoughts come, and as soon as you start meditating with no expectations, and that when something happens, it just happens, it's okay. Meditation is not an Olympic sport. You're not competing with anybody else, and you're not competing with yourself either. So just practice this one more time during the day today. You can just sit and you do nothing for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and you just observe what is. You can do this with your eyes open and just see everything around you just happening. Or you can close your eyes and see things happening within. And on that note, I will not keep you any longer. You have many things to do today. So let's take one last deep breath in through the nose. And on the exhalation with a sigh, open your eyes, put a nice little smile on your face. That's it for today's morning episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please put a thumbs up. If you would like to buy me a coffee, because my cup is empty right now, the link is below. I highly appreciate all many donations. It keeps this channel growing, and I really do appreciate it a lot. All the links to the free worksheets and ways of contacting me, the support group on Facebook, the book list, everything is in the description of this video below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening inside of the podcast. If you're listening in the podcast, it will be in the show notes. So don't hesitate to have a look there, and have a great day. You've done great today. We did some very important things. We've talked about very important concepts. So keep it up. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.